Do 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 do. Hi. Hey there, hi there. Alright, today I got another Class 12B student. Are you ready? I call this one Dr. I. Oh no. Maybe I should call him IDOC for short, okay? His real name is Hazel Iris. This young man was born of a former mid-ranking villain who, after he got a family and settled down, left behind a life of crime to use his powers to become an eye doctor to help people to see again. His dad loved his son truly and hoped that by enrolling him in a big league association that he would choose the right path, unlike what he did in the past. He even called in an old favor from his former nemesis, even to make it happen as an old favor. His nemesis agreed, though noting it was ultimately up to the son who dreamed of using the legacy of Dr. I for good to choose the right path. Unfortunately, his son, while kind-hearted and able to use some of the basic true arts of the true art of the eye, tended to get in trouble a lot because he was a sort that if something needed to be done, he decided to get it done by whatever means he wanted, which meant that he often sometimes broke the rules to help others around him that were hurt due to someone else, and even got into fights, which led to him getting into trouble frequently despite his noble intentions and being demoted to Class 12B. He knew from this that, he was doing a poor job of what his old man, wanted to instill in him and, making his parents sad as a result, but he felt that the school's rules were often protected bullies and punished the innocent for fighting back and had clear favoritism towards, certain students, especially ones with money and influence, as well as ones with strong true arts. And while he did point out that she was aware of this and that he was right for calling it unfair, but instead of, lecturing him on the rules and discouraging his motives, she decided to teach him to, use his abilities smarter and more tactfully, teach him smarter and more tactful use of his abilities, leaning into his love of crime dramas, as well as his desire to be a real hero, because she knew sometimes real heroes had to defy authority, sure, but they couldn't do it recklessly or would lead to bad people being able to skirt the law and portray themselves as the victim. Which, does happen a lot. Which is why she taught him to be observant and to keep records and collect evidence, especially with his record ability, which he discovered was one of the lesser used true arts of the eye. She, however, also knew he would need the power to back up his resolve as hero, since hero work is dangerous, so decided to help him discover all sorts of eye-based techniques, using his old man's, arts as a basis, teaching him things like elemental vision, different types of vision based on things like seeing through objects, or seeing things that are invisible to the naked eye, or using advanced techniques to record enemies' arts and movements, as well as weaknesses with his eye, so that he could adjust his tactics accordingly, and even learn the ability to manipulate light and to alter his opponent's vision to disable and weaken him, and even, how to use hypnosis, though he was, warned not to use it unless he really needed to, as well as, various eyeball light and vision-based techniques, and how to use his dad's techniques of generating eyes, which he can control the properties of and control remotely, and extending it to multiple at once and using them to, gather information too, which Inamai urged him was a valuable tool in the pursuit of justice, and being able to find suspects and track suspicious activity. He quite liked this, and while his, desire for justice was still strong, he refined his techniques and started using them a bit more smartly, which started to turn its tide in his favor, as well as preventing various bullies from getting away with things thanks to his recording ability. When he became a hero after leaving Class 12B, he decided to take up his dad's old business of being an eye doctor by day, and being a hero by night. After all, he figured that by being able to help people see was a small amount of good he could do, while doing greater good as a detective-style hero. He even became one of the guys of NetRan Information Network for heroes across the city, thanks to his network of eyes that were scattered all over the city, and even worked alongside Telephonic of Dreams to do this, and became a reliable partner in being able to help heroes by guiding their actions throughout the city of St. Joan, as well as, being able to use his eyes to, probe into other realities as well, often working in the background in many major incidents while he did so, while also working as a bit of detective to aid heroes in confusing and complicated cases in the field using his ability and using his abilities and following his passions, which helped him to solve many incidents and uncovered a wide reach of many dangerous entities and crime organizations and bring them to justice, often by using his appraisal ability to do so, which had greatly advanced into what it could do, since his early days. Yes, appraisal is a very helpful ability that and basically a lot of isekais. Kind of weird though, people sometimes in isekai see it as like useless, so it's like, no, it's like very useful. Information's like, very valuable. Now, originally I did, come up with this guy because I was at an eye doctor. Of course, I kind of imagine him as like kind of older and, already working as an eye doctor. But, I decided, turn him into a student in class 12B. Yeah, and I also had the idea to, use a whole bunch of, different eye-based techniques. Obviously we got like heat vision and cold vision and, all that. Alright now. Let's go look for somebody to raid, shall we? Do 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 do. Alright, let's see. There's gotta be somebody on. Oh, although. Alright, let's try this one. Undersco Bones Jones. Alright, now let's try this one. Oh, Bones Jones, let's go raid them, shall we? And I thank you for watching. I hope you had plenty of fun. Remember to fly like bat and shine like the moon for what your stuff dreams are made of, okay? Dun 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 dun. That's my very poor rendition of, the skeleton appears in, Kirby Mass Attack. You guys ever play that game?